Hey guys, welcome back to January 2023 K1 Challenge GP. This marks the start of the 2023 season, coming off of a really solid first year last year where I came just barely in second place in the championship. It was a tough battle against some really fast, great racers, and looking forward to doing it again this year. This first race was no exception. Really fast night. I managed to qualify second, and by now, if you have been watching any of my videos, you'll realize that for me, second place is really a curse, starting P2. If you notice here, the angle, and I've gone over this now several times in other of my previous races, I have come to believe, others may disagree and that's totally fine, but in my experience, second place is at a disadvantage to third place, because third place over to my left has a straight line going to the back of the first place, the P1, the starter, whereas second place is way out. As you can see, I'm way out on the side, and unless you get an incredible jump, and even if you get an incredible jump, which I think I've gotten the best jumps I can get, given, as soon as they wave the flag, my foot goes down to the ground, and I am using all the kart's power to get me to tuck myself in behind second place, or behind first place. This is the third time now that I have failed and that I have lost position to the third place guy. So I approached the management after, just kind of a lightweight approach of saying, hey, we may want to reconsider where second place grid start is. But hey, whatever. It is what it is. I think you know what's coming when the race starts. I do everything in my power to tuck behind kart number 2 right there. That is my one mission, which is pretty much verbatim of what my mission was in the previous races where I've started second. And despite all that, as you'll see, it doesn't work. So let's see what happens here. About to wave the flag, about to kick off the 2023 season of the K1 Challenge GP, and here's what happens. Foot down, lose the position. Just what I feared. Luckily, I managed to tuck in behind the 15 kart Harrison, because otherwise what can happen is a train of karts can flow through there, and then you lose like 5 positions. So my fear became true, despite my greatest intentions to not let that happen, and now I'm in third place, which is really a bummer, because I could have been fighting for first place. But so far, the kart feels fine. A bit of a gap in front of me, but nothing I'm worried about at this point. I think as the laps progress here, we built a bit of a gap between the front runners, the 3 of us, and the folks behind us. I'm kind of seeing if Harrison is going to make a move on Jeff, while also seeing what my options are to pounce. And Harrison takes him. Harrison was able to get ahead. A little bit of an aggressive move, but kind of has to be done in these scenarios. And here, I'm able to tuck in behind Jeff, take advantage of that hairpin corner there. So now it's about getting in front of Harrison. Not much to say here as I remain focused with my next mission. I'm back in second place, only this time with a different person in front of me. Either way, I'm surrounded by good, fast kart drivers. And for those of you watching, looking to maybe learn the line, the racing line, at least the line during races, is often different than the line we take, or I take, in qualifying. In qualifying, you're kind of opening up the arcs a bit more so you can carry more speed, whereas in races, you don't want to go too far out to the sides, because that really opens up the gaps, like on this corner. Now, if you just noticed, there's a particular spot, which I'll point it out in a second, where my cart just has a dead spot. The battery just starts to die right around this corner. So right here, you can hear where the cart kind of dies. And this is really upsetting for me because I fear that it's just going to get worse. So I'm shaking my head. I'm trying to get the marshal's attention. See, because while my cart isn't flat out dead, there's clearly an issue, and now you can see I just have to let Jeff by. So basically what was going through my mind here was I made a call, a very difficult call, in a very unfortunate circumstance where my cart was dying, it was getting worse on each lap. There was nothing I was going to be able to do unless I was an absolute jerk, which I'm not, and just blocked Jeff and blocked everyone behind me. That's not allowed, so I was not going to do that. But I also didn't want to stop right away. If I had stopped, I ran the risk of the marshals not stopping the race and me just sitting dead there like a complete idiot. So I was playing the middle ground here, letting Jeff go by, continuing to point at my cart, letting the marshals know that there was a problem, and soon you'll see that I literally let everyone go by here, like 4 or 5 carts. I kind of stupidly pulled back in there. That was my bad. But I just let people by because I couldn't block them. I would have had to literally, I had about a third of the power now, maybe half the power. So luckily my plan worked to draw attention to the cart while continuing to race, but not wanting to disrupt other people's races. So it's kind of a strategy going in my head to what I was doing here. Luckily they finally listened. This guy clearly knew what was going on. So kudos to you for stopping the race and getting me into another cart. Alright, so I hop back in the new cart, number 5, and they asked me where I was when it died. It was a bit of a tricky question because it started dying when I was in second place. And that's when I eventually, after like the 3rd lap or so when it was dying, I let Jeff by for the reasons I mentioned before. I didn't want to block him or hold him up. So but I also didn't want to put myself back in front of Jeff because ultimately I did let him by and it was an issue with my cart. So I put myself behind Jeff, so back into 3rd place, because the point at which I let by that train of carts, at that point my cart was dead. So, and they are supposed to, I don't know the official rule book, but the protocol is anytime where your cart is like, it won't go, it is dying, or there's a major mechanical problem, is when they will switch it out for you. And this was such case. So back in 3rd place, somewhere around halfway through the race now, I'm not exactly sure. I kind of didn't want to start right up Jeff's butt because that wouldn't have been fair. So I left a little bit of a gap to where I wanted to have the restart. So picking up the race now in a totally different cart, and keep in mind, every cart behaves very differently, so I'm having to get used to this cart. Luckily it felt good, although it was entirely different, the steering. So you'll see as I kind of take these corners, I'm having to play with the steering wheel just to make sure that I'm carrying speed and making the micro adjustments as I go on. So clearly, I'm not a happy camper at this point. You know, I lost the initial 2nd place right off the start, and my cart died, which is the first time my cart has died like that in a race. It happens quite a bit to people. It's pretty typical where in one of the finals, whether it's the A, B, or C main, where the race stops because of cart failure, or in qualifying. I would say it happens every month to someone, if not multiple people. It had never happened to me, and this happened to be the time where it happened during the race. So I'm closing the gap on Jeff. but that's the race. That's the end of the race. So I finished in third place. Not a happy camper, not a great start to the season, but I did the best considering the circumstances. Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys in the next one.